Hi there. In this video, I'm going to show you on how to build agents visually. And this will help you better understand the underlying components as well as concepts on how to build an agent. And I'm going to build an agent for sentiment analysis, and we are going to start with a single agent, and then we are also going to move towards a multi-agent architecture, and everything we are going to do it in a very visual way so that you can understand agent building in a very easy and very lucid way. So I'm going to work with a tool, and this tool is available on my platform called as DATAJARVIS.ai. So first of all, let us start by naming the flow, and let us call this as sentiment analysis agent. Now here you see a visual canvas, and this visual canvas has got nodes, and then you see these lines which are the connection between all these nodes. And the reason this looks like a graph is because at the back, I'm using a very popular framework called as LangGraph for building the agents. So an agent is basically an access to a large language model, because an agent is going to take some user inputs, which is in natural language, and then it is going to interpret it. And for this, it requires access to a large language model. So first of all, let us see what are the different large language models we have, and we can go to this model hub. And here you can see that we have a large language model, Claude Haiku, as well as we also have Claude Opus. So let us go with this Claude Haiku model. It is a cheaper model, and it can be useful for our exercise. So let us go ahead and first of all, make sure that the agent is using this DATAJARVIS free, which is at the back, which is this Claude Haiku model. Let us also give the name to the agent, which is, let's say, sentiment analysis agent. Each agent also has got a system prompt. So here we are going to start with a very simple system prompt, which is that you are an helpful research assistant. Now, this agent will also need access to some tools where the actual sentiment analysis will happen. So here you can see some list of tools, and let us click this one, which is the sentiment analysis tool. And let us see on what this tool looks like using the tool hub. So in the tool hub, you have different tools which are available for an agent, and tool is basically a Python function. So let us see on how the tool for the sentiment analysis looks like. So as you can see that this is a Python function. It takes a data set, and then it also takes a column on which the sentiment analysis has to be done. And it starts with a basic description on what this tool is going to do. So analyze the sentiment of the text column in the data hub data set. And I'll come to this point on where is the data set located in a while. And here I'm using a function called as Vader sentiment. And this is a very powerful Python library which can help you do sentiment analysis. So we are going to first load the data set, and then we are going to check if the column is available in this data frame or not. If it is not available, we are going to return back an error. Now, if the column is available, in that case, we will proceed to the next step. So the next step is to use this sentiment intensity analyzer function, and then apply this function to each and every row in the data frame on the column for which we want to analyze the sentiment. Afterwards, this sentiment intensity analyzer function is going to give a score to each and every text in the data frame, and if the score is more than 0.05, in that case the sentiment is positive. If the score is less than minus 0.05, basically negative sentiment, in that case the sentiment output will be negative, and all the remaining ones which are neither positive neither negative are neutral sentiment. We can then also calculate some statistics such as the percentage of positive, negative, and neutral sentiment, and then we are going to return the output, such as the total number of rows which analyzed, the total count of positive, neutral, negative, and what are the total percentages of positive, negative, and neutral sentiments. So this is the tool. So tool, just to remind you that it is a function which takes into account a data set and a column. It goes through the sentiment analysis and then it is going to return back the result. Now let me also show you on where this data set is located, and we can go to this data hub which has got list of data sets. You can also, of course, upload your own data set, but for this video I'm going to use this particular data set which has got reviews from Amazon.com. So let us see on what this data set looks like. So this data set has got the product ID. It has got a score rating which is given by the user, as well as it has got the review. So our job is to take this review and try to analyze the sentiment of this review. Now let us go back to the builder, and here we have already given access to this agent, to this particular tool. And if you see here, this sentiment analysis agent is going to use this tool, and then once it is done, it is then going to end. So let us now also click out and start working with this agent. So let us first simply type in that give me sentiment analysis of the review column in the data set Amazon 50. Now this prompt will go to the agent. The agent is going to send the list of tools as well as the prompt to the large language model. In our case, this is the HiQ model. And then it will determine that for this, it needs to have access to the tool. Now, all the execution of the tools can also be determined in a way that you require some human approval, but you can also kind of do it in an automatic way. But for the moment, I have kept this human approval so that we can see what tools are called. So here you can see that the agent has determined that it will need access to the sentiment analysis tool. It has also automatically identify the data set which is available in the prompt, as well as the column which also it has taken from the prompt what we have given. So let us now approve this tool, and it has now executed the function which I showed you earlier, the Python function, and it has come out with a summary that what is the total reviews analyzed, what are the positive sentiments, neutral sentiments, negative sentiments, and it has also given a key inside. So as you can see that this is in fact coming from the output of the tool, which is the Python function. It has sent this back to the large language model, and the large language model has created a nice summary, and then we have ended, and the function has ended, and we have a very nice result of the sentiment analysis. So this is a very, let's say, simple agent, but it does a lot of great stuff. And you can see that it is also a very visual way to understand what an agent is. So to summarize, an agent is an access to a large language model. It has got access to some tools. And then based on the prompt, it is going to decide on what tool has to be used. It is going to execute the tools, and then it is going to take the result of the tool, again send it back to the large language model, and it is going to come out with a final summary, and it is going to end. So let us now go one step further by creating an additional requirement. So for example, you can say that give me an HTML code to produce a bar chart of positive, negative, and neutral. So as you can see here that I have not specified the data, neither I have specified the number of positive, negative, and neutral, but the agent has got some memory. So it knows what was the output of the previous prompt, and it has taken that into account. It knows already what are the number of positive, negative, and neutral sentiment, and it has produced this HTML code. So let us take this HTML code and let us see if it works or not. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it into a text file. So here you can see that I've copied the HTML code into a text file. And let us now open this HTML file and see if we can have the bar graph which we requested. So here I've opened up the HTML file and voila, you can see a very nice bar graph which has got the number of positive reviews, neutral as well as negative. So as you can see that we have gone from data to analysis of sentiment using a Python library, and then we have also produced an HTML visualization, all using just prompts and asking all the questions to the agent. So that is the power of Agentic AI. You have to just make sure that your agent is correctly configured, it has got access to the large language model, the architecture is good, and then voila, you can start chatting with it and make powerful data analysis. Now, let us go one step further. We are going to now split the data visualization and analysis into two separate agents. And this is a good practice because you do not want to overload your agent. You want to have specialized agents so that they can work effectively and communicate with each other in a very efficient way. So we are going to create another agent which is going to do all the data visualization. So I'm going to add another agent here, and I'm going to call this as data visualization. And I'm also going to give it access to the LLM model over here. Now what we need to do is this edge, which is going from sentiment analysis agent to the end, we need to delete that. So we are going to just delete this edge, and we are going to point this edge to the data visualization agent. It means that after the sentiment analysis is calculated, the work has to be passed to the data visualization agent. So here, when I click here, I need to say that this agent, sentiment analysis agent, is going to pass the work to data visualization agent, and we are going to say that you can do so once the work of the sentiment analysis agent is done. In that case, pass the work to the data visualization agent. And now we also have to create this edge between the data visualization agent and end. So this could be just a simple edge where the work passes on to the end node. So here we do not have to specify anything, because once the work is done, automatically we want the work to be passed to end the work, and the workflow is going to end. Now, we also have to figure out a way in which how these two agents are going to communicate, because this agent will need access to all the output which is produced by the sentiment analysis agent. And for this, we have this shared state concept which comes into play. So think of shared state as a blackboard where all agents are writing what they want other agents to see. So let us see what this shared state could look like, and this shared state has basically a list of some attributes. So let us add some 3 attributes. So I'm going to put 3 attributes, which is number of positive sentiment. Initial value can be 0. Just give a description, which is number of positive sentiment. Then we can add one more, which is number of negative sentiment. We'll put 0 as initial value. We give some description, which is number of negative sentiment. Then we add one more, which is number of neutral sentiment. And this is number of neutral sentiment. Okay. Now, we also need to instruct this agent here to write the result back to the shared state. So here we need to now create a prompt. If you remember earlier, our prompt was very simple. You are an helpful research assistant, but now we have to give some specific instructions so that this sentiment analysis agent can write to the shared state, and this shared state will then later on be read by the data visualization agent. So first of all, this sentiment analysis agent will need access to updating the shared state. And this is once again a tool. It is a Python function which will allow to take the output of the sentiment analysis agent and update it to the shared state. So let us now write a prompt which is something like this. That you are a research assistant doing sentiment analysis. Call the sentiment analysis on the data set and the column for username. From it count, save the shared state in one update shared state call. And you have to save number of positive sentiments, number of negative sentiments, and number of neutral sentiments. And then just briefly report the numbers as a helpful research assistant. So now what will happen that whenever we are going to execute the sentiment analysis agent, it has got a very specific prompt and it knows what has to be done. Now we also want this particular agent to read what is available in the shared state and then make the data visualization HTML code. So here we can say that you are a HTML code generator. Read the shared state for values, number of positive sentiment, number of negative sentiment, and number of neutral sentiment, and make a HTML HTML code for a bar chart. Okay. So now our agents are ready, and let us see if it works, if we can produce the HTML, but this time we are not going to specify in the prompt that we need an HTML. We are directly going to let the agent figure it out. So let us start again with our prompt. So we'll give the same prompt what we have given earlier, which was give a sentiment analysis of the review column in the data set Amazon 50. So here you can see that we are not specifying that we have to produce any data visualization, but the agent will figure out automatically. So I'm going to send this. It is going to again ask for the sentiment analysis tool. So I'm going to approve. Now, because we also have asked to use the update shared state, which is once again a tool, it is again asking for approval. So I'm going to approve. So now, as you can see that we have our output, and our output has already produced the HTML code. So this is really interesting because we do not have to now specify that to the prompt specifically to produce an HTML code, but we have already divided the work. The first agent is analyzing the sentiment, and it is then passing the work to the data visualization agent, which is producing the HTML code. Now let us also briefly look into the shared state, and you can see here that you have the current values from the last run, and you can see the number of positive sentiment, negative sentiment, neutral sentiment, and these values are written by the sentiment analysis agent, which are then read by the data visualization agent, which is then producing the final code. So just to recap here that our data analysis agent is a prompt like you are a HTML code generator. Read the values and then produce an HTML code for bar chart for positive, negative, and neutral. And voila, you have a multi-agent architecture which is doing sentiment analysis as well as it is also producing some nice looking visualization. So hopefully that gave you a very good idea of how to build agentic systems for data analysis, for sentiment analysis, and we have gone from a simple agent, which is an access to a large language model and a tool, to a multi-agent architecture where you have multiple agents working together through a shared state to exchange information. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel as well as try out this tool DATAJARVIS and let me know your feedback. And in the meantime, keep learning and see you soon in the next video. Thank you. Bye.